Hello, everyone. I'm Buford MC, and welcome back to another adventure in GregTech New Horizons. And today we have a very important episode, very big episode for us today, because today we are going to accomplish something pretty big. And that thing is we will be getting our first bit of polyethylene today. So I'm quite excited, and we have a little bit of work to do in order to get there, but we've been working our way towards this now for the last couple of episodes, and everything, I believe, is now prepared for us to finally make that final push towards producing polyethylene. So let's get into it. So I've already set everything up for the most part, except, of course, setting up the actual machines and stuff. So we have our new iron tank here. This is going to be the polyethylene tank. We've got some stuff prepared for some machines, and I think we're finally ready to proceed to polyethylene. So the way we're going to do the polyethylene, so let's go over that first. So I've got some bookmarks here. So the way we're going to do it is we're going to start with severely steam-cracked refinery gas. And the reason we're using that is because if we come with the Working with Oil quest tab, which is what we're going to be doing today, we are going to use this quest here, which tells us about basic cracking. And basically what it wants us to do is it wants us to use sulfuric gas, of course, to make the refinery gas, then combine that with some steam to make severely steam-cracked refinery gas. And that is the first step in order to get towards making ethylene, which is the next quest. If we take a look at that, it wants us to get a little bit of ethylene. So that's what we're going to do, and once we have ethylene, we just need to combine it with some oxygen, and we get ourselves some polyethylene. So it's not a very difficult process. So we have pretty much everything in place now. Now that we've set up all this oil stuff, you know, a large area of oil stuff we've got here, producing a lot of stuff here, but we need one more item in order to finally get that polyethylene, and we're just about to get there. So what we're going to need to do is we are going to need to set up these machines. So I've got a couple of things in this backpack again, as usual, and we're going to need probably a lot of it. So let's see what we need to do here. So the first step is let's install the turbines. So I've already planned this part out, and the turbines are going to go, we're going to put one of them here, we're going to put another one here, and we're going to put one of them up here, and there's a reason that one has to go up there, and you might be able to guess it already, but I'll show you when we get to that point. So now we're going to set up well, we'll do it machine by machine. Well, let's just put them all actually in place. So the first machine we're going to need is, we're going to need to put a chemical reactor here, and I'm going to need to add an additional large potent pipe, because we actually are going to be filling this one up with steam, because this one's going to be used to make the severely steam-cracked refinery gas, since we do need refinery gas and a little bit of steam. Yep, that one right there. Not sure what the difference between 2 and 3 is. It's a steam, but it's a different kind of steam. One's 420 Kelvin, the other's 375. Doesn't make a difference, but I just thought it was kind of strange that there's two different types of steam. So we're going to go ahead. We need to put in the... Oh, are you... Yep, you do have the arrow on you. And then we'll put one more pipe there. Put that, and then add a chemical reactor there. That should fill you up with steam. Looks like this is the 375 Kelvin steam one. Interesting. Right, so what we're going to do then is we have to put a ultra-low voltage fluid tank next to you, because you're going to be filled with refinery gas, because we have to transport this into the cells, since, of course, we can only put one fluid in here. So we need to give you one more pipe. And then do that, and then add the ultra-low voltage fluid tank like so. That fills you up with refinery gas. There we go, seeing that. Oh, I didn't bring... Of course I didn't. Yep. There we go. That's the one thing I forgot. It's the cells. See, it's always one thing I forget. I have everything but that one item. It happened last time, I think. It's happened a couple times. It's always one item. So let's go grab some cells quickly. It is nighttime. Let's go. Yeah, we've got plenty of cells here. I don't even think we need that many. 32 will do. Let's go to sleep as well. Right, so let's head back down then, now that we have the cells. Gosh, I just can't believe we forget. It's always one thing. Just one thing, usually. It's okay, though. So here we go. Now we got the cells. What we need to do is we need to give you... I don't even think we need many. I think, like... Well, how long does this take? 16 seconds? Right, so we'll probably get away with like 2 cells in here. We'll put 4, though. Well, actually, no, we need the, well, we don't need the refinery gas for a quest. We'll put 4 of those in there. And, of course, we'll do what we normally do. We need to give you the pumps and conveyor modules. So what do we need for this? A conveyor, I think. So we'll attach a conveyor to you. And that will be set to export, I believe? No, yeah, export. So we get the refinery gas, and also we do need to make sure you have the right circuit. It is circuit 3. And this should be off. There we go. So we are making the severely steam-cracked refinery gas. Now for the quest, it does want us to get a couple of cells of this stuff, right? It was 8 cells, I believe I saw, and that gives me 800. So this actually does need to run for a little bit before we actually proceed. So what we're going to do, let's set up the output for this. Golly, that thing is huge right there. Is there a way to make that smaller? If you know, let me know, because when you have these like bigger things in the machines, it's like, you know, the thing that tells you what item you're looking at, it gets in the way a lot. And there must be a way to make that smaller, because sometimes it's not an issue. Like if I'm looking at this, or if I'm looking at this, it's not an issue. But, you know, because it has that severely steam crack refinery gas in there, it's making this whole thing huge. I can't even see my hotbar that much. So there must be a way to make that smaller. Anyways, though, so what we're going to need to do now is we do need to do what we normally do. And I did remember we have to use a screwdriver. So, in fact, actually, I'm just going to manually set that for a moment just so that thing continues to run. It should run. I'll even put it in manually for now, because we do need to amass 10 buckets of that so we can get the cells. Right, so that's off and running. That will do input, allow output, and I think we face you that way, and item auto output. That should put the cell back in. We've done that a couple times now. Oh, and I almost forgot. Yep. We have to do allow input. There we go. All right, so that will send the cells back and forth. All right, so this is already up to 4 buckets. We needed, what was it, 8? Okay, so we're not that far away. All right, so let's set up the rest of the machines. Then we're going to need, next step is going to need the distillery, because the next step, of course, will turn the severely steam crack refinery gas. Now, of course, we could always turn it into something else if we want to. We could do propene. We could do ethane. The one we want is ethylene. We also could do methane or helium, but we want the ethylene. So ethylene will be made in here, and that is going to be what circuit? Let's find out. Distillery, it is going to be on circuit 3. So circuit 3 for you. We're going to put another ultra-low voltage fluid tank here. And now the final step will be to use this chemical reactor, which I will place you down. And we are going to make molten polyethylene. So the way we make that is there are 2 options. You could use compressed air, but you don't get as much oxygen. You actually get, I think, a 50% bonus in molten polyethylene. So we want to use oxygen. Now, this is an interesting question I also have, and I was looking at this. We could make it with oxygen cell and then, of course, the ethylene. I'm not sure, actually. Is that a gas or a fluid? Might be a fluid. I'm not actually sure. Doesn't really matter, but oxygen cell and ethylene. We could do that, or we could do an ethylene cell and oxygen as the gas inside of the fluid slot. That does take a little bit longer, but the ethylene, we only need 144 here. This needs 1,000, and it's actually interesting. So I was doing some calculations. This takes 56 seconds. This takes 8 seconds, but this is 7 buckets of oxygen. This is 1,000 liters of ethylene, which is essentially 6 times 144 plus 136. That's not quite 7 kind of things of ethylene, if you know what I mean by that. Not, 7 amounts of 144. It's actually a little under that. So technically, are we not saving on a tiny amount of ethylene by doing this recipe here? I could be wrong about that, but I think we're saving a tiny amount of ethylene. So I think we're going to do that one. So the ethylene's going to come from this distillery into this ultra-low voltage fluid tank, and we'll pipe in the oxygen, which we do still need to do. How are we coming along here? Oh, 12 of those already. Perfect. Let's see. It'll be easy if I do the cells. In fact, that's what we need for the quest. So we needed, I think, 8 for this quest. Yep, there we go. So basic cracking, that one's knocked out. And the final one to do here is to make the ethylene itself. Very exciting, isn't it? Alright, so we'll put that... Actually, let's put that... Well, we can put that straight into here for now, actually. That's set the circuit 3. That should give us our ethylene straight up here. And then also we can go ahead... I guess we need to add a pump to you. Right, that is really annoying, isn't it? So let's put the pump on you quickly. There we go. Pump's filling in here. We're going to get ethylene, and we're going to get this tiny pile of carbon dust as well. Now, carbon dust for us is absolutely not an issue. If we come over here to our rubber setup here, we have a barrel here of, a little over 8,000 carbon dust. So carbon dust, I really don't need that from that distillery right there. So what I have in the backpack is I have a trash can, and I think we're just going to void it. I mean, I can't really imagine we need this. I mean, this feels like junk to me right here. So we're going to put a trash can on you. And we are going to set... Man, that's still large because of that, isn't it? Wow. Yeah, I got to get that fixed. So, let's see here. This is going to be for... We're going to do item auto output. No, there's no real need to, actually. We'll do the fluid. Yeah, fluid auto output will go into there, and we'll just put a conveyor onto you, right? Put a conveyor up there. Set that to export, I believe it is. It should just go straight in, right? Yep, there it goes. It's gone. Right, so we're getting rid of that carbon dust now. And now we're getting our hands on some ethylene. And I think this should be enough for that quest as well. Lovely, ethylene. All right, well, this is going along quite well so far. We're already at the final step. So we have our ethylene coming in. And now the last step is to make molten polyethylene. Right, so we do need to get oxygen into here. Do we need a circuit for you as well? It does appear if we're going to do this one, circuit 9. I think I'm going to do that one. So, circuit 9. We are going to need to give you a pump. No, we're not doing a pump. My bad, we're doing a conveyor module. We're doing the cells. I think we only need 2 cells. It's very slow. So I'll give you 2 cells. And then we're going to put a conveyor module onto you, which will be set to export. That should put it in. And then we need to get the oxygen. So this is the oxygen tank here. It is now completely full up, actually. So we're going to be using this. Now, one thing I should mention, we will be using more oxygen than we are making up there for this. But it's okay. We have enough stockpile. So why we set up these gases before we started doing all of this oil stuff. All right, what we're going to do, we're going to simply just drag this oxygen pipe, I think, along. Like so. I think that should be simple enough. There we go. Right into this corner here. We're just seconds away, I believe, now. Well, we have to wait a little bit for it to finish its operation, but... Right, let's, Ooh, I didn't connect that, did I? Right, let's get the arrows on you quick. Do the line mode for that one. There we go. And then... Nope. That's not what I wanted. Trying to get to that pipe right there. Right, can I get that from this angle? Alright, let's just build up. It's easier if we do that. Much better. Let's put that back on there. You'll go down, and then break you. And now one more pipe. Alright, this should be it right here. The ethylene's in place. Once this starts filling, we should be off. Nope, gotta turn that off. This should start off here in a moment here. Once it gets to 7,000, we should be on our way to polyethylene. There it goes. 56 seconds away from our first bit of molten polyethylene. Alright, so while we're waiting for that, we do need to set up the piping to get that into that tank over there. So let's do that quick. We should have enough pipes left. Just saw nighttime hit, so let's go to sleep again. Is polyethylene hot? I think it is because it says it's molten. Let's see. That doesn't tell me. That does 400 Kelvin. Okay, it's not that hot. Yeah, that can handle 2000 Kelvin. That's not an issue. Alright, so this should be it right here. So I've got the input ion tank valve right there, so we should just simply be able to do something like this. And you'll come out here. We haven't hit the button yet, so it won't actually do that, but, you know, it won't come out until I do that, but we should just have to do something like this to get it. I think that will be enough. Again, this pipe will be hot if it gets full up, but I don't really see why that would be an issue. Go. The arrows. And put that there. And do I have a couple of blocks? We'll just cover this up, probably. Yeah, that looks fine right there. This is a back area anyways. Oh, speaking of which, actually, before I forget also, we are getting some more oil again because I moved our oil pump to a new spout. So we are getting a little bit more oil once again. So if we actually come to the map here, you'll see we're now actually taking on this oil spout we have down here. We still have this one as well if I need to, but I've extended that pipe down all the way along here. So we are getting additional amounts of oil because, of course, we are going to need it in order to get more of this refinery gas in order to get polyethylene. Right, so we should have our first bit of polyethylene here. Let's take a look. And there it is. We have it, a little bit of polyethylene. Oh, we do need to set up the cells again. I almost forgot about that. We have to do the same process that we did there. Oh, we are going to have to put a pump on you then. That's right. That's how we're going to have to do it. So you're going to head there. You are going to... see here. How did I do this again? Yeah, conveyor modules on you. See, I always get tripped up a bit, right? We need the screwdriver. You're the screwdriver. You're set to allow input, and then I do item auto output. Yep, there's the ethylene that should be pushed back in, right? Let's just make sure it does that, and then we'll carry on. We're already getting a decent amount. And there it is, a little bit of polyethylene. Let's see, is this going to go back in? It should. Yep, there we go, and it's off and running again. Lovely. All right, so let's put this pump on, and we should get this tank starting to fill up, finally. Here it comes, and there it is. Our first bit of molten polyethylene has arrived in this iron tank, and this is quite exciting right here. We've been working our way towards this now for a long time now, and we finally have made it to getting our hands on a little bit of this molten polyethylene. Now, again, this is going to take quite a bit of our oxygen, but we're doing okay. I mean, it's going to start dropping, but we're fine for now, I think. We'll definitely get a decent amount before we start running out of oxygen. And again, we're constantly producing it, so it's not like production will stop completely anyways. So that's quite good. And this will be our main use, I think, for oxygen for now. Should get us a long ways. And refinery gas, no problem there. Completely full up. Yeah, we make a ton of refinery gas to our little setup over here. And oil's not an issue either. We're doing quite well on oil, so we should be doing quite well here on polyethylene. Look at that, 4,500. And, yeah. So, in terms of the uses for polyethylene, actually... well, actually, is there even a quest for it? So we got that. We got these two knocked out. There's nothing for polyethylene. I don't think I've seen anything in LV for it. So we can search for it, potentially. Let's see here. Polyethylene. No, that's HV. I think that's something else. Early ethylene. Well, that's unlocked. Polystyrene. Whatever that is. HV. I guess I could keep typing. There's going to be a lot of things called poly. Yeah, that one says polyethylene. Molten polyethylene. Tier 2 MV. Ah, okay. Let's take a look, actually, then quickly. There it is, ethylene. Okay, so if for some reason the quest on the MV age for this, even though we can make it an LV, right? Well, we can't actually complete those quests in right now, but we got it done. And of course, now that we've got this polyethylene, we can start doing quite a few things with it. So, for example, the sifting machine is finally an option now because we can finally make our hands on these item filters. So that's quite exciting right there, isn't it? So that means we can also start making some of these other things, I believe, here, which needed item filters. Yep, so all of that is now available to us. Very good, very good. Quite excited about that. Well, something else also I think I could make, but I can't think of what it is right now. Really can't think of what it could be. Yeah, I don't know what it was. Right, so yeah, these are available to us now that we have the molten polyethylene. There was another use as well, actually. So if I look up the LV machine hull, I believe we can actually make these now inside of an assembler. One machine casing, 2 tin cables, and we would need basically 288 liters of polyethylene. I think that's essentially 2 cells of it, because I think one cell's only 144 for polyethylene, I believe. I could be wrong about that. I mean, it doesn't matter. It's 288, and we're making quite a bit of it. But the point is, if I were to do this recipe now, I no longer have to use raw iron or steel in order to make the LV machine hull. Instead, I would use a little bit of polyethylene. Well, essentially, I guess, replacing the raw iron with the polyethylene. So, and we don't have to use an extra bit of steel. And if we can save on steel, that's a win. So, it's only 1 steel, but, you know, if I had to make 32 more LV machines for some reason, that's 32 steel. It does add up over time. So, yeah, there's some good uses for this stuff, and we're definitely getting it at a reasonable clip. How's our power doing? Because we are running a lot of machines. Yeah, this thing's still completely full up. And we aren't running the, I haven't done much in the ore processing area recently. I don't think anything's running here right now. So, we're using a decent amount of power even without that right now, because this guy's pretty much constantly empty now. This guy's doing pretty good, but again, we're not really running into any major power issues anyways right now. We're doing quite well, I'd say, but yeah, I'm really happy with this. We finally got our hands on polyethylene. The big plan we had upstairs has finally come to fruition. We finally completed it. So, quite pleased with that, in fact. So let's claim the quest that we got for today then. So, let's see, we got basic cracking. We got that one, which will give us a loot bag. I don't need one. Conveyor module is simple enough. Take that, and then early ethylene. You'll give me an enchanted LV loot bag. Okay. Right, so we can add those to the pot then for episode 100, which is coming up very soon. The next episode, I believe, is episode 100. So let's put those in there now. Yeah, we got a decent amount of loot bags. So there we go. We got the plan done here. Project Polyethylene. This has taken us a bit of time, but we got it done. Let's ring the bell in celebration. We got it done. Woohoo! Right, so yeah. Molten polyethylene has been achieved. And I'm just quite happy we got that done. It took some work, but we got there in the end. So, let me check on that oxygen one more time as well. Yeah, see, now it's starting to drop again. And hydrogen's also starting to drop slowly as well because we're doing all of that oil stuff anyways. But that's to be expected. Nitrogen, I don't even think we used that yet. So, there will be uses for that coming up. Man, I'm just glad we got this stuff finally finished up. We got our molten polyethylene. So, yeah, it really wasn't too difficult to set up. I mean, it took all of this. I mean, it basically did. All of this, I mean, I guess these weren't needed, but we needed to at least set up one of those. We needed this. We need that, because, of course, we get it from there, and it comes all along to here. But, yeah, polyethylene, 12 buckets already, so we're getting a decent amount. And, yeah, I think that is where we're going to end this one here. So, we finally did it. We got our polyethylene. And we are ready to start progressing into some other stuff. Now that we got polyethylene, we'll be able to make things like the sifter. We'll be able to make some other stuff coming up. And yeah, we are ready to move forward. So I think that is where we are going to end this episode. So I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you again soon for a very special episode 100, which will be coming out again very soon. So I'll see you then. Bye for now.